Go.
That wasn't good.
Yeah. Oh, man. Flanders.
Goes down like water.
We'll just tell him what happened. A friend of the show, a friend of the pod, Dwayne Doyle. I'll just out him who he is. EMA86 on the board. Worked together at Target many years. I attempted to fire him a number of times. Never was successful. But he bought us 4 tequila shots, and we're not big about drinking on the show or, all that stuff. But, I mean, if he's going to buy us one and ask him to start the show, we're going to do it. So that's
Drinking
what that was.
on the show is right up my alley.
Right. And I'm not even saying you shouldn't drink on the show. I'm just saying that's not what it's about, but it's a funny way to start the show.
It was a funny way to start the show. And shout out, before I get to the intro of this, the important intro, shout out to Tallgrass Taphouse, who sponsors segment 2 of this show. That's some smooth house tequila, if you ask me.
I would agree. I don't like that stuff at all, and I didn't use salt. I only bit a little bit of my lime to make Doyle feel better about being there's no word that's like appropriate. And it was really good, though. Did you hear Scott Wildcat's voice? Should we introduce him?
Oh, yeah, it's Scott Wildcat.
What's up, what's up, what's up?
And this is the KSO Show, presented by People's State Bank and Legacy Insurance.
Both of them.
Both of those places. Talk about it.
Well, it's awesome. I was just going to say, more importantly, it's the first edition where I made a picture that has both logos of People's State Bank, Legacy Insurance. They're sending us all their info. We're working through it right now as far to explain. I think they got at least 2 branches in Manhattan, but I don't want to speak ahead of turn and be wrong. We'll have more to talk about them in the coming weeks, but they do run this show. So if they tell me to say something, I'm going to say it.
They're right next to Popeyes, aren't they? Is that
I don't say that.
I don't know.
Don't start saying things.
You're right. That's true.
Don't start saying things we don't know. Okay?
But yeah, Scott Wildcat is on the show.
Howdy, guys.
Sitting next to us. He's not going to be on a mic apparently all show long, he says. But the star of the show, Scott Wildcat, was Mason last week. I think Scott Wildcat could be the star this week, right?
I don't know if I'm going to be the star. I'm just happy to be here. It's been a long time since I've been able to come to a KSO show. Wasn't at work late today, so I was like, you know what? I want to be at this show, and you guys threw me on, so I'm pumped. There's no place in the world I'd rather be.
It was pretty damn nice, I'll say it, So I walked in the front door. Flanders was already setting up, and as I walked to this table, Scott was literally walking in same time, 2 guys in a field running towards each other. We got here at the same time, and then Doyle came in, and I've never been more excited. That's probably not true, but I'm very excited to do a KSO show right now because, holy cow, or holy cats, as Brat would say. K-State was good last week. We did talk about him again.
I know. Hey, they beat Nichols last week. A nice showing, 49-14 in the first game of the Climate era. Talk about it.
I'm sorry.
Over there. It's okay.
One story. I haven't told you guys this yet. And Flando wasn't at availability this week because I told him not to be. He wasn't skipping it. But the most awkward moment so far of press season is I said to Van Malone, you may have seen on the video, I said, hey, I know Nichols aren't your responsibility, but talk about Jaron McPherson. And he says back to me, who's Jaron McPherson? And I think, well, he's a D-back on your team. You should know this. I know Nichols isn't your guy. He's like, oh, you mean J-Mac? Well, he said in his answer, I don't pay attention to their team that much. I was like, he's on your team. He was like, J-Mac. And so we kind of talked and laughed. And then after I thought, man, why did Van Malone get confused about Jaron McPherson? I know he's not his player or whatever, but I don't know if you guys have caught it yet. But then I thought to myself, no, I said, I know you're not responsible for Nichols, which is who they played last week. And he thought I said Nichols. So his mind jumped straight to, players on Nichols, and I set the guy up for failure, long story short, and I apologized to him, and he said it was funny. So
he's a good guy. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
And, he goes by nicknames for everyone. So, it's a...
Let me ask Scott a question about nicknames before we actually get into this.
I love giving people nicknames.
Well, we all love nicknames. We're all fan. I'm not trying to criticize nicknames.
Yep.
But, they're so desperate to give out a nickname, all right? The Josh Rivas, 2-syllable name, Rivas, is Revo. That's not shorter. Now, I can't criticize because I call Flanders Flando. It's also not shorter and ends with O. It's the exact same thing. But I think it's kind of lazy when you go Revo for a nickname.
Yeah, I think it could be more, but I think you could get more creative with that. But if they are dead set on giving out nicknames and, you're not going to call him R-Ball, like J-Ball, he's not playing. You could, but that doesn't roll off the tongue. Joshua Rivas, I'd call him, Big J maybe, or
Big J's great.
I actually like that a lot.
Yeah, I'd call him
reasons.
I'd call him Big J.
Just Big Josh,
Yeah.
That sounds like a country kind of guy.
Yeah, exactly.
These people I just waved at next to us, this will matter nothing to people on the phone, but the guy on the right is a friend of mine named Ryan. He's an MMA fighter here in town, and he's friends with my friend Freedom, and then the gal with him worked for me at Dick's Sporting Goods, so it's a small world.
It is a small world.
Man, you just know everybody.
I mean, I know everybody. I know all 6 people if you count the 4 of us at this table and those 2 right there.
Might as well put them all together.
Put them all together.
Tables.
They would. Yeah.
Should we get the show on the road?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Talk
really go
about
now.
Bowling Green.
Yes.
Preview of Bowling Green. Maybe a little look back to the big win for K-State over Nichols. To start with the quarterback position, Skylar Thompson was very good last
go
week.
Scott
Start with
Pimp
Scott.
juice, baby.
16
Pimp
to
juice.
22, 212 yards and a touchdown and a score on the run too. Talk about his performance.
You know, I think that's the Skylar Thompson that so many folks have been waiting to see since the day he put his name on the dotted line on signing day. He's a 4-star player. He was highly coveted, and I think everyone who was in his camp knew this is what he was capable of. I don't want to sound too much like John Kurtz. You know, he was preaching this all week on
Kurtz
the
would have
game.
been the same.
Yeah,
so
but
it's okay.
I think this is just proof that, you know, what we saw during his freshman year wasn't the anomaly. It was being jerked around last year because every time he was able to play free, he's been an elite level quarterback. Is he going to put up, you know, the Texas Tech, you know, Madden numbers? No, because that's not the offense we're playing in.
Right.
But how efficient he was, the throws he was making, the decisions he was making, that is a next level quarterback. And watching that just, you know, made my purple heart happy all game. I can't wait to see him hopefully do this again to Bowling Green.
There's very little to add to it. I thought he was very, very, very good last week. You know, if you just look at it and weren't there, you might say, why are people gushing over a 16 to 22? They would admit it's good, but over a 16 to 22, 212, 1 touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, but it's because if you watched him, he played virtually perfect. I mean, out of the 6 misses, 4 were drops. Now, that's a whole other story. Drops are just part of the passing game. It's the same as we lose our minds because we all think we can catch a football. But, I mean, it's just an incomplete pass. It's the same thing. And he had a couple of throws that were caught that weren't great throws. He had a throw he kind of missed to Malik Knowles when he threw it to the left, hit him in a touchdown. But the point is I can nitpick 3 or 4 of his throws because that's all there is. I mean, the rest of them were so good. And that doesn't even include the fact he was the guy running the offense that I don't think did they have a false start? I don't think so. I don't think they had a hold. I don't think they had to delay a game.
There was 1 timeout in the first drive.
So he was just basically perfect. So ESPN's QBR is not a perfect stat. I'm not even going to pretend it is. But it's not broken either. I mean, and they had him, I think, as the number 1 quarterback in the country until Jalen Hurts was perfect for the most part. Pro Football Focus had him in 95.9. Yeah, he played basically perfect. I think it's more who he is. And like Scott said, about the Texas Tech numbers, he may not even do this every week. He's probably not going to hit 75% of his throws and be perfect every week. Yeah. But this is probably who he is. And, I haven't changed my win total for K-State yet. But if Skylar Thompson's that guy all year, it's hard to see them not winning 6 I already have him at 6, but, winning 6 or 7 games or maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, I've had him at 5.
Yeah. Have you moved off 5?
No, because here's my thing. I was saying while last season was going on, I was saying, hey, this is a 5-win ball club if you get rid of Bill and bring someone in.
Yeah.
So it's almost me trying to hold to a prediction I made 11 months ago. But I tell you what, with how great K-State looked last week again, FCS school, but you saw the struggles at other schools in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I'm close to coming off of that 6-win, and if we cover and some other Big 12 teams, struggle this week, I may officially come off that 5 and put us in 6, this time on Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, this time tomorrow.
I think it's totally
It's
fair.
a morning game.
I think it's fair too. I'm already ready to say 10 wins. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not ready to go that
you'd
far.
be the first guy.
Nick Leckie came on our pod that released today.
I retweeted it. I haven't listened
that's
to
fine.
it yet. Yeah.
He said 10 wins for K-State.
Wow.
And he also predicted the Chiefs to go 13-3 but be a wild card because they split the tiebreaker with your Chargers.
I mean, there's nothing I would love more than both teams being a game better than last year, and you guys having to be the 5 seed and go on the road
He
in the
also
first
had
round.
us winning the Super Bowl.
Well, that could happen
So
too.
Nick's all over the place, but he has us winning 10, so Flando wouldn't be the first.
You wouldn't be the first, but you got to go 11 now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm definitely thinking I'm going to probably go to my ceiling and say that this team can get to 8 wins with how they performed last week. But it's still early, just one game in. It's an FCS opponent. Let's see what they do in the next 2 weeks. But
Calm down. Stop telling us to be reasonable over here. I do want to throw one thing in at quarterback. I don't want to make too much of it, but I mean the John Holcomb thing.
Talk about that.
Like when we're still adjusting. Like Scott is too, as he watches and does pods every day for this team and tries to understand what things mean when they're said. But like, so when I hear Chris Kleiman say, in week press conference 2, we're working on a specific package, for John Holcomb, I think that's ridiculous. Why are you telling us that? Like, thank you, but but and then I'm like, well, it's never going to happen though. I mean, I still, even though I know he hasn't lied yet, I still think, well, that's not going to happen. And then you talk to Messingham, and he says the same thing, to the point that I wouldn't be just floored if they come out Saturday and have a goal line situation or a 4th and short, and they go to the Hulkamania package. And, it'll be fantastic.
All I'm going to say, call back to Bosco's boys, Travis Tannehill, preview pod. He was already saying that there was going to be a package for him, and I don't want to burn any bridges.
But
Travis Tannehill's best friend is Colin Klein.
Right.
So I'm just saying that I think maybe there has always been an idea for a package for John Holcomb ever since spring ball started.
Yeah. Listen to that. Secondary newsbreaker.
Bridges burned.
Yeah.
No. Travis loves me.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I hope.
But does this mean Holcomb is at that number 2 spot behind Skylar? Is it still
I don't
Nick Ass?
think so. I think it's, but we're not going to know the answer to that ever. Because I think the real, again, this is the staff I don't think just says stuff to say it. I think their honest answer is there's not really a number 2. There are certain situations, again, probably a game that you're up or down a score late in the 4th quarter, where up a score particularly, where they probably go to Nick Ost. If it's a situation where they're down 2 touchdowns in the 2nd quarter or late in a game, maybe they go to John Holcomb. I think they're not fibbing when they say there's not really a number 2. They probably have situations for each of them. Holcomb's probably the only one who would play this Saturday on purpose in a close game, but that doesn't mean he's ahead of Ost necessarily.
I kind of like going to Scott first with these position
previews.
Yeah, and then you just come in and say, oh, what he said.
Yeah.
So running backs. How about what, you got like 3-4 guys it seems like you can go to. Definitely 3 with Gilbert, Brown, and Trotter. What did they show you last weekend?
I was a little surprised to see, even in that first drive, all 3 of them get snaps, get touches, which, again, it's something that you guys have been saying and all the great Big J journalists have been saying.
Big J.
That this
Big
is what
J
they
Rivas.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
There we go.
Well, no, all right, time out. So Josh Rivas' nickname is the journalist because he's a Big J.
He's the
there
Big
you
J.
go.
I mean,
there you go.
I love
done.
it.
So,
we'll pass it on to the staff.
Pass it on, please.
Yeah.
So they said this is what they were going to do, and that's exactly what they did. So I don't know why I was surprised, but being able to see them and see what they bring. Jordan Brown was making some of these catches that make you think, okay, like, is he a running back or is he a slot receiver?
He's a wide receiver, yeah.
Exactly. So you see what he brought. Harry Trotter, he was the guy I was most surprised about because you hear them talk about him, hear him get put on scholarship again. I was just thinking, that's just kind of like a nice nod to a guy who worked his way back.
Yep.
I was not expecting that. But then he gets that touchdown. You see Barry Brown going wild.
Oh, my goodness.
So I'm really liking, this, 3-headed horse, 3-headed monster, whatever we want to call them back there. And I will give a shout out to Tyler Burns.
Yeah.
I don't know if he is going to be able to bust in and get carries over those 3, but the fact of the matter is that guy walked away from the game of football. You can't help but think he maybe fell out of love with the game under the old regime. He comes back, earns his way on scholarship, and the fact he was able to have that drive where he picked up every yard on a touchdown drive, that just makes you so happy to see. So I was pleasantly surprised. I'll be interested to see week 3 what the running back rotation looks like versus Mississippi State, because I anticipate tomorrow we'll see a full cycle, but until that Mississippi State game, I don't know if we'll truly get a real picture of how they view those 3 running backs.
He does a great job. I mean that sincerely. Back to back, both of our guests. Like, we joke a lot, and then we go straight football when we get to these, and they just do a great job.
And then we get to be the joking around.
I'll add one joke and one serious thing. The joke is that, you talk about 3-headed monster, 3-headed horse. I'm trying to think of a nickname, like 3 guys. One's named Harry, and there's the old saying, any Tom, Dick, and Harry, So I'm trying to think of any, like James Jordan and Harry, but if Tyler started, you have a T. Anyway, I'm still working through it. We'll get back to that. The only thing I would add, is Derek Young. It would have been, when you've heard this, I may be giving away, who cares, it's one edition of the KSO Show. Derek started doing the what do we call it, the final walkthrough, where Derek has to patiently sit on this info until more or less like lights go off and You know,
is
people,
that what it?
So that's what that is.
I saw that as I was sitting. I didn't read it yet.
So we want to. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing. It's nothing unlordly, groundbreaking. I don't like to say godly for some reason. But it's interesting. You know, it's some stuff that I think doesn't really change how things get prepared. How you doing, sir? No, you're good. KSU. Okay, you. Matt, very nice to meet you. Fantastic. Yeah, have a seat if you want. I'll stop anytime to talk.
Stop it in.
I mean, you know KSU, KSYOU.
Oh, yeah, that's him.
That's who that is.
He's a good guy. He's a good poster. Yeah.
I wish you'd have said it was a terrible poster. Like, that would have been a weird thing
God,
to
he
say.
sucks.
No. But no, anyway.
I don't think he likes me, so I'm glad I was hunched down hiding my Bosco logo.
He probably does. You know, in person, you got to be buds.
You know.
But the newsworthy running back note there was that we'll see Jacartier Wright. That's how it's pronounced, Jacartier. Was the scout team player. Yeah, there's some breaking news for you. Was the scout team player of the week last week. It sounds like he's kind of flipped with Joe Irvin. So now where Jacartier Wright worked with the number ones this week, and Joe Irvin was with the scout team. So it may not matter. Both may neither play again. But if one true freshman were going to play at running back, it sounds more likely right now it'd be Jacartier Wright. And while we're on the topic, too, because it's kind of running backs, fullback, this will break Scott's heart. Expect the Seawolf to get significantly more reps this week. They
I
thought,
thought you were going to say
no,
the
it's
other
good.
way.
They thought he outplayed Mason Barta in week 1 by a pretty significant margin, and you may see. I mean, starter's a funny term, of course, now in this offense, but he may be their fullback after Nick Leonard.
So since I'm not at the weekly media stuff, can you please let them know that's what Jax's nickname is?
I'm glad you brought it up. I was going to say, I don't think the listeners know exactly.
I need to just ask Mr. Kleiman a question one time, like where the context clues would let him know that's who it is. You know, so
when Jax scores 3 touchdowns tomorrow in the postgame show,
what's it like to have a true freshman score 3 touchdowns like the Seawolf did today?
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
And he'll honestly
sticks.
And without listening to beat, he'll say it feels great. You know, it's a guy when you get a guy with that kind of pedigree and nickname and everything, you hope he can do this, and there it is. So lots of news there at running back, actually.
I love it.
Gosh, there's a lot of good
that makes me so happy.
And a good segue into the fullback tight end position. I mean, you talk about how much you love Jax Deneen. And, I mean, even Leonard's, he's the fullback position, but he's the one tight end fullback that also made a catch.
Yep.
Well,
right?
and the Seawolf, but I mean, he's a fullback.
Yes.
He's not a tight end fullback. You're right.
Yeah,
he's the only guy playing tight end fullback.
He's the only guy who played both positions.
You're not going to see Jackson.
Oh, there he is. He is on there. I was wondering where I was thinking Seawolf, and I'm like, where's Seawolf?
He's like, where is Jay Seawolf on my stats? And I can't find him.
What's ESPN doing? But yeah, so. Tell me about that position. I know Messingham's offense revolves around a lot around that and stuff. Did you see a lot of good stuff from there?
Yeah, I remember the very first play Jax was in. I saw he was wide open, and I was grabbing my dad's arm, and I'm like, it's going to the Seawolf! And then it didn't, and my heart broke. But when that was the most electric 9 yards of the entire game. You know,
it was.
Here he is. He's just this bowling ball of a guy, and I think the reason why I'm so attached to him is that's how I envisioned myself when I played fullback from 7th grade to freshman year.
Yeah, you were the Seawolf.
I was like, yes, I was the Seawolf. I'm this round guy who can run dudes over. Of course, no, I was nowhere near that. But this guy is athletic. He's a bowling ball. I just love the way he plays, and it's just not something you see in football at all. You know, it's the same reason why for the Chiefs I get pumped when I see Anthony Sherman make a play. It's just I like seeing big dudes.
Like Tolbert.
There you go.
Man. I watched
Tony Richardson back in the day.
I watched some old Chargers highlight. Lorenzo Neal's another good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's just a throwback. I like to see him. I like that we took this guy who was a KU legacy, like 3rd generation KU. His brother's playing KU, and he gave them the double bird and said, I'm a cat. And what's crazy is the reason why he came to us is, you know, Les Miles is thinking, I'd rather have my son play football. Get the F out of here. The Seawolf is going to score 7 touchdowns versus KU, and he's going to drop his drawers and moon Les Miles after he scores his 7. So that's why I love Jax. I think he's going to have another big game. I want to see him break the 25-yard mark and get into the end zone. So, as Mason would say, book it and cook it.
Yes.
I mean, nothing, you know, like, the thing I want to add about Jax Deneen is, and you guys have probably seen it on Twitter, too, like, he is the guy that even non-K-State people or pseudo-K-State people are really excited to all throw in Les Miles' face. Like, you can have your own opinions about Ian Boyd or whatever, who I really like, but, I mean, I sent out a picture of Jax Deneen after he got his 9-yard gain, and it took 2 seconds for Ian Boyd to retweet that. No relatively big writer and say, this is the guy KU couldn't even get a scholarship to. Like, he's going to be the example of people will throw that in KU's face for 4 years if he's any good, and he will be.
He's going to be a 4-year all Big 12 player if I have anything to say about it.
Well, you do have one thing to say about it.
Yes.
You know, I mean,
I have one, but
I just can't wait to see the theatrics in. Is it in Lawrence or is it?
Yes,
in
it's in Lawrence, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing.
I'll be listening.
He's
to
going
this
to run
one.
over his brother, too, on his way into the end zone. How great would that be? Sorry.
It would be unbelievable.
This would be amazing.
This is the most off-topic episode you guys have ever had. But if he trucked his brother, because his brother plays on defense,
they're gonna have an
Yeah.
opportunity.
If he trucks and then just stands over him at the half-yard line, looks down, then steps over his head into the end zone, I would die.
Mother
I
Deneen
would
just
die.
screaming like, "Don't treat your brother like that!" Like
I
you
would
could hear
love
it in
it.
the stands.
I would die right there in the stands.
I'd love
man.
to see their text messages exchanges the week prior to that game too. I'm sure.
Oh.
It's gonna be a fun little rivalry.
I can't wait.
There. So Skyler, he passed it around a little bit. 5 different receivers catching the ball. Obviously, Dalton Schoen was the number 1 guy. Malik Knowles came in as a little surprise because we thought maybe Gill was going to be the number 2, but Knowles, I think, deserved it. And, I mean, he struggled a little bit early on, but I still think he's going to turn it around.
Yeah, I said it on our show. I think he's still young. That was the 5th game Malik Knowles has played. I have 0 worries about him. Now, if it continues into this week and the following week, maybe I'll worry. But he's a redshirt freshman. I legitimately believe that when it's all said and done, Malik Knowles will be one of those guys that we look back at as a 4-year contributor, and we say, hey, where does he rank amongst, the top 25 receivers of all time? I have no worries about there. Schoen knows what he's supposed to do. He knows his job. He got robbed of a touchdown where he dunked on a dude.
Oh, yeah.
And then, I'd like to see Youngblood get a touch this week. But he seemed engaged out there, and that's encouraging to see of a true freshman who has all this hype. He doesn't get targeted, but he was blocking. He was engaged. I don't have anything else to say about the wide receivers. I think it's a little bit more encouraging than I was thinking coming into the year.
I feel the same. I mean, on one hand, I'm conflicted because my whole football hot take this year, because I've read other smart guys say it, so I'm just copying it, is the idea that drops are so overrated by fans. It's just an incompletion. Like I said, it drives you nuts as a fan, but it's part of the passing game. It's why a quarterback completes this percent, because some percent are going to be dropped. It's not automatic. Now, if Malik drops 2 touchdowns every week, then sure, it's going to be a massive problem. We'll talk about it. And the reason I'm conflicted is because we were told the drops were an issue in camp, and they still put the ball on the ground on Saturday. But I'm like Scott, to where I think Malik Knowles is going to be fantastic. I think he'll be just fine. I have not concerned 1% more about him than I was last week. If anything, I'm probably impressed how he ran routes and got open. Yep. I still think K-State receivers are the biggest question on offense for me. But no, just because a couple of balls hit the ground last week, I'm not going to lose my mind. That's going to happen in football. When you throw the ball 22 times a game, a couple are going to hit the ground. So I think they were fine, but I do think they want to shore things up. And yeah, like you said, Joshua Youngblood on the field, I want to say they're the 3rd or 4th most snaps to all receivers. So a lot of chances, but like he said, no targets. So you'd like to see that this week just because it'd be great for him. It was fun to watch Jax last week. How fun would it be to watch Josh Youngblood get a 20-yard gain on a reverse? You'll lose your mind.
Lose your mind. Absolutely.
I would go nuts.
One of my favorite plays was that play where Skyler rolled out.
I know
and he kept it going, and then that 34-yard strike to who else but Sebastian Taylor getting it going.
Right. Love it.
Do you think he's going to be? I mean, he was talked about being a guy that could, among the coaches, have a breakout season. Do you see it happening, Scott?
He looks the part. He's a big body, and the most impressive thing about that play was he knew to keep running.
Absolutely,
Obviously his route was done, but he kept it alive. It was schoolyard football. He's probably the guy who looks the part the most. I don't think the amount that K-State's going to pass the ball, anyone will truly be crazy breakout star. But I think he's a guy that you need to target between 3 to 5 times a game because he has that big body and he can make the play. So I'd love to see him, make one of those plays a game. And if you have that in your back pocket, I mean, all of a sudden, maybe the wide receiver depth, maybe you don't have an all Big 12 guy, but you have a good group of guys that, would be on other Big 12 rosters, which may not have been my thought when we came into the season.
They have a number of options they're comfortable with, and you said it perfectly. I was going to say to Flando, I mean, will he have a breakout season? No, in the traditional sense, because he's probably not going to catch more than 15 passes. So if Sebastian Taylor gets 15 catches for 180 yards and a touchdown, you're probably going to hear a lot of, breakout season talks. But in the sense of, will he be a factor on the offense and make some big plays in games? Probably so. So in a sense, he will be a breakout guy. And you guys nailed it. Like, the best part of that play was just staying with it, keeping his eyes on his quarterback, giving Skyler a chance to make a play. So, Landry Weber had a couple catches.
Phillip Brooks,
Phillip
the other
Brooks
one,
did a nice job. So, no, they do have 4, 5, 6 guys, like they keep saying, who they're interested in. We just have to hope, if you're pulling for K-State like we are, of course, that they can make a couple of big plays and hang on to the ball in the passing game when they get the chance for it. Because they will get the chance,
So, Scott, let's segue to the next position group, the offensive line. Were you impressed with what you saw?
Yeah, I think it's really about the contrast from the opening game last year to this year. Again, I think Coach Kleiman said in his post-game, and I think a lot of folks reiterated it, you can't truly grade the offensive line in the one watch from, a press box or from my seats in Section 7. You have to see the all-22, but what he said, hey, we were pushing them off the ball more than we weren't, and that's impressive because last year you had this heralded offensive line that really struggled until, Oklahoma State game. Did they ever really figure it out?
They were great against Okie State. Well, great's a strong word. They were really good against Baylor and lost.
Yeah.
I don't know that they ever were what we thought they would be.
You played a worse FCS team last year and couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
So I think it really might have to do with the change away from being so zone heavy to power pull heavy, and I think it just works for those guys. And quite frankly, I think the journalist Josh Rivas.
Thank you.
What
about the journal?
I just can't
wait. The journal.
The journal.
Like the journal. Somebody used to call me a journal as a joke. I can't remember who it was.
I think
it was somebody at Target back then.
That's the British.
Me a journal.
The British term for journalist is journo.
Oh,
because
I don't like that.
Okay, the journal. The journal.
Yeah.
We'll work. Yeah, I'm going to go with that, the journal. So I think I was
can't wait till Van starts going with it.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Well, I thought he looked very good. I would want to see him inserted into the starting lineup. Again, I'm not a coach. I didn't see the all-22, but I'd like to see him get his spot back or get a spot back for this game and then let Evan Curl be the guy who comes in to spell. So I was impressed with him. I thought Scott France looked good. I gave my offensive game ball in our post-game episode to Mr. Kaltmeyer.
Heck yes.
So I thought he had a really good game as well. So, no, it wasn't Kaltmeyer. It was
Tyler Mitchell?
Yeah.
Adam Holtorf?
No, Holtorf.
Yeah.
It was Holtorf.
They all
Sorry.
played well.
They were all good.
Yeah.
Kaltmeyer was the one who had the best PFF.
Correct.
So they all looked good. So I think, honestly, the fact that I cycled through all these guys means how well they played. And if we blow up Bowling Green all game again, I'll be pumped.
I think he's.
I love the way you.
I think K-State's coaches would echo a lot of what he said without coming out and saying it. I think they thought Rivas played better. The Journal played better.
Yes.
Than Evan Curl. Not that Curl played poorly. I don't think he did, but Rivas.
Oh no! There's been a sighting.
You can't be on.
There's been a sighting.
You can't be on here.
Oh man, it's right.
Taylor Bratt is in the house. So we're going to try to keep talking.
Just give me a hug. Give me a hug.
We're just going to yell at him for a little bit. He's got a lot of friends in here. We'll get back to it. We're talking about the Journal. I think he played really well. Something you could look for. I don't want to give away everything that DY said, in the what we call it again, the final walkthrough. We had like 8 different names we were tossing around for it. That's what we settled on today. But you could see a thing like we're kind of similar to what Scott said. Maybe they would play Rivas either as a starter or play more. But when they go to spell somebody, maybe it's not taking Curl out. Maybe it's taking France out, who's not 100%. Sliding Mitchell to tackle and playing both France. So same thing, different story. I think Rivas plays more snaps either way. And you're right. Can this line roll up? Because go back and look at last week's game. I don't even know off the top of my head. What was K-State's longest rush? Probably 23, 24, 25 yards.
Yeah.
So they rolled up 360 without a bunch of 60-yard runs.
Yep.
So you probably had to dominate up front to do that, and they absolutely did.
Gosh, you guys are some good evaluators.
Get us to the other side of the ball, okay?
Well, we are getting to the other side of the ball. You want to start us off, or you want me to keep going to Scott and you finish them off?
No, I want to start because honestly,
go with
there's nothing left. I should just say I'm done every time. You gotta give me a position. Set me up.
Let's give you the defense, and let's start with defensive line. And just talk about the whole thing. Let's go from inside out, from Trey Deshawn to Wyatt Hubert and Reggie Walker. Talk about all of them.
I think the most fascinating thing was the snap differential, or the snaps being shared amongst that unit. Another example, if they told us so time and time again, we're going to play a bunch of guys, play a bunch of guys, play a bunch of guys. We're live. This is absolutely
Go Cats, baby! Woo!
right.
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Yeah, Scott and Mr. Brad are hugging right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a great time. He's an exciting guy. I don't want to talk about his players plays around him because he might say, "Why is Matt Hall criticizing all my guys?" You know?
Yeah, I gotta say what's up to my boy.
Hey, is Mike McCoy telling you what to do?
Make me a second.
No, this is on. This is
the KSO show, not Bosco's boys.
Dang,
We don't give out.
I've made it.
We don't give out. We don't give out koozies. We don't give
I don't
out.
know, man. Just the Bosco Boys solo is pretty
Right.
good, though.
Well, they
you
do
know?
the. I mean, have you seen the Cats by 90 shirts they've got?
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are pretty sweet.
Yeah. We have no merch. We have no koozies. We don't give out money. We
I
don't.
know. I haven't got a letter with the koozie either. I don't know what's going on there.
Hey, you got yours in person.
Yeah, you did give me a first.
Hey, I'll send you a letter.
Oh, you're good.
I'll see you, Taylor.
Take it easy. Scott, I had to very carefully craft my tweet about your purple letter thing because as I wanted to say, like, I really appreciate this, but as I was doing, I was like, somebody's going to think I'm knocking the other famous purple letters when I say this one's meaningful, and that's not the point. Defensive line, Trey Deshawn was very good at D tackle. The coaches thought Jordan Mitty was the second best D tackle in the game. I absolutely believe them. I love Joe Davies. I don't think he did anything particularly bad or good in that game. And it's hard to talk about that group a lot, man. I mean, Wyatt Hubert played 20 snaps. He almost had a strip sack. We saw Kyle Ball a lot, Reggie Walker a lot, Boone Massey a lot. I mean, when no one plays a bunch of snaps and the stats don't really roll up, there's Mike McCoy, speaking of the devil, just walked in here with the recruit. It's hard. It's hard to really break that unit down and say, man, did you see what Kyle Ball did? I'm okay. Thank you for asking, though. But do you have anything to add on the front line on defense?
I was the toughest on the defensive line after that, and after reflection, I probably was a little too tough in our post-game show. When you only have 40 defensive plays, it's tough to really be as disruptive as I was wanting them to. I hope we see a little bit more.
I still wish they were too. I'm not against you.
Yeah, I want to see a little bit more this week. That was one of my keys to V. I really want to see them cause some havoc and.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we're recording. Yeah, cause some havoc, and I'd love to see a couple sacks. So that's what I'd love to see. I'm a massive fan of Trey Deshawn, Trayvon Sauce. So I think
not the real Iosaba, but poster Iosaba.
I used to have season tickets right next to him.
He said he knows you really well.
Yeah, I was chatting with him earlier.
Posters galore coming in. We love it.
I know. So I was a little thrown off, but yeah. So I'd love to see a little bit more from the defensive line this week. I'm not sounding the panic bells, but it was a long way from Reggie Walker declaring them
correct
the top defensive line in the Big 12. I'd love to see a performance that backs that up a little bit more.
Were you surprised Kyle Ball wasn't starting instead of Reggie, or
surprised he wasn't?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. I would have guessed he would have. I thought that they were a little bit more pleased with him towards the end of fall camp than Reggie Walker, but splitting hairs. I mean, again, when they say who starts doesn't matter, it actually means it if you're going to play all these guys, virtually even snaps. I mean, so we'll see. It was one game. But, yeah, if it's a situation where all season long they're playing equal snaps, then I would say it doesn't matter. I mean, whether it's Ball or Walker or whatever. But I was a little surprised, yes.
That's the number one spot on the defense. I want to see them continue to rotate because those are big dudes who are expending a lot of energy every play.
No doubt.
So on defense, it's a little tougher to do those line changes, but I hope they keep it up on defense for the defensive line.
Let's move to linebacker. Obviously, Elijah Sullivan, I thought he played really well. Coming back, showed that he is the guy he can be, but Daquan Patton also showed what he could do.
Nobody's been more, and no one's been harder on Daquan Patton than me. I know everyone thinks that I think he sucks, and I don't. I've just been honest about how I think he played last year. I thought he was fantastic on Saturday. Scotty Hazelton on Thursday talked about him running to the ball better than anybody else. That's probably true. The thing that I just noticed was he didn't play a lot of snaps, but multiple times caught him knifing into the backfield and making a play. I don't remember a missed tackle.
Led the team in tackles.
Yeah, I don't remember one play where I thought, boy, Daquan Patton didn't look very good there. And then Daniel Green came in, missed a tackle or two, but the same thing. I thought he was in the backfield right away. I thought that unit, if one unit, I'm not changing my mind about the linebackers because of one game, but if one unit was way better than I would have given them credit for going into it, it was the linebackers. I thought they were maybe instead of this, maybe in competition with the secondary, the best unit on the defense.
Yeah, if you want to actually see something fun on kickoff coverage, if Daniel Green is on there again this week, this man, he's a madman. He's not the fastest dude, but it almost looks like he's seeking out someone to attack.
Probably like a Madden when you take your one guy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
hit stick.
He did miss a couple tackles, but that's like
what? He said high hit stick. I was like, yep, definitely.
Yeah. He maybe that's his nickname, hit stick. He's a man out there that if he's going to make a mistake, he's doing it cliche 110%. And that's what you want to see in the linebackers. Again, Daquan Patton and Elijah Sullivan, both looked good. And if I had one complaint about them, on that very first drive of the second half, on the touchdown they gave up, the defensive line kind of got pushed out of the way, and there was no linebacker to fill those gaps. That's my only complaint I could have about them. Again, that's going to be another position group that above almost everything else, except for maybe the running backs, that I'll be anxious to see versus Mississippi State, because that's going to be the first real test. I think you can see more of what the linebackers will be versus them. And because I expect a very easy, game for the linebackers tomorrow.
Let's move on to defensive backs and good old Scotty over here. Defensive backs. Let's get it started with the safeties. How'd you think William Jones's first ever start? Right?
Thinking of Wayne Jones.
I mean Wayne Jones.
Who?
I said William Jones.
You're thinking about. Have you heard the clip when the mayor in Miami calls Dwayne Wade?
Yes.
Wade Jones or something like that.
But the ongoing it's. Who? Wayne Jones, kind of like Mike Jones.
Wayne, I like it. I
even understand
That's
that.
a good way to remember it, because it wouldn't make sense to say who William Jones. No, it's who
Wayne
Jones, which is his name. Maybe I should just do my job and remember it.
Wayne Jones, my only memory of him, and I think he played well. My only memory of him, it was actually a play that K-State gave up, but I was really impressed when we were turning to Nelson and talking about it, was pre-snap. He was probably within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. Maybe a second before they snapped it, he bailed back 11 or 12 yards back towards the closest sideline to me, and that's exactly where they threw it. Now they completed over two guys, so neither guy made the play, but I remember thinking, wow, Wayne Jones, pre-snap, knew where that ball was going. So that was impressive to me. Neither him nor Goolsby stood out, which I guess you could be critical of, but usually safety, sometimes you'd rather not notice them making a bunch of plays. That's usually not a great sign. And then, of course, the obvious one, Jonathan Alexander, the strip the strip fumble recovery for touchdown was really great to see for that kid in his debut and how happy he was. So safeties, I have nothing but praise for. Corner, I could be, if I wanted to be critical a little bit. A.J. Parker, huge play with the interception, because that game was still just 7-0, and they got 8 yards their first play. I'm not saying it was going to be close, but people forget K-State actually got stopped on its first drive. The face mask extended it. So then if you don't get a turnover right away, maybe it's not the blowout. He was good. I thought Walter Neal was not great. I thought he missed a couple of tackles, which has been kind of an issue for him. He wasn't great in coverage either. He kind of concerns me out on the corner, if I'm being very honest. He's probably my favorite guy on the team, but I didn't think he played particularly well. So not that I'm freaking out about him, but I didn't think he was great. I thought Jared McPherson was very good, but I'm worried about K-State's corners against good teams.
Yeah, I was really concerned with how Walter Neal played on a couple plays. It looked like he just wasn't quite in the right spot, or a couple times he was just, missed out on a jump ball. And I think it kind of brings up what the fan concern was when we all heard that he was moving to cornerback. And again, I'm just a dumb fan. I don't really know what's going on. I am. I really am. So when I hear he's moving outside, I get concerned because I was sold on him playing nickel. I was sold on him playing inside. So some of those concerns were realized in that first game. I'm hoping for a big bounce back from him, because fact of the matter is, once you get to Big 12 play, once you're playing some of these air raids, if you have a liability on one side of the field, they'll stay away from A.J. Parker.
They won't.
Texas Tech, Bowman will not throw at A.J. Parker all game. If he thinks that they can pick on anyone, let alone Walter Neal, that's where they're going to be going. So I hope to see a big game from him tomorrow. Otherwise, that might start, creeping into more than just a concern for me.
It's like if there's one spot, and I think this is what you're thinking, at least it's what I am, if there's one spot on the field that you can't get away with just knowing what to do and where to be and being a good guy, it's corner. I mean, more than any spot on the field, you can't hide out there. And I'm not saying Walter Neal's a bad athlete, because that'd be false. He's not. But I don't think he's a great athlete either.
Nope.
And I think you need to be a great athlete at corner. Even if you're an average corner, you're probably still a great athlete. I don't think he is, and that's why I'm concerned. But the guys moved him there, and I mean this not as a dig. I mean it sincerely. immeasurably smarter than I am. So I mean, they know what they're doing, but I share Scott's concerns, and I'll be watching Walter Neal as the season goes on.
I'm hoping Lance Robinson can work his way into that starting lineup. It was something that Coach
and you mentioned special teams earlier. He was great on special teams.
That's what I was going to bring up. Is he was so good on special teams. I'm hoping that it was mentioned. I saw it on your guys' YouTube page. If you're not subscribed to KSO on YouTube, make sure you are. Yeah. I watched the interview, and they said, hey, because of his play on special teams, he might be getting in there at corner. I'm hoping at some point this season he is the starting corner opposite of A.J. Parker.
Same.
And maybe bump Walter Neal back to the inside. But J-Mac played really good at nickel.
Exactly. That's the thing I'd say is if he didn't start at nickel now, I don't know that he starts. Excuse me, if he didn't start at corner, I don't know that he starts over.
That's true,
but that's a good problem to have, right? I mean, it's great to have Walter Neal to play. To be your backup at all the corner. He could back up all your corner spots. Both the exterior ones and then the nickel. That's a great problem to have if that happens.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if you guys mentioned it. Maybe it's not worth mentioning. What did you think of Keevan McGee? I mean, last year he got in. Did he not do much?
Yes, he did. I mean, he was
like his dreads.
Oh, he looks. Talk about a guy wearing number 7 with the dreads. He looks great. He's in great shape too. I mean, all I would say is no. I mean, which means he was fine. He played a number of snaps. I can't tell you one time that I thought Keevan or Keevy, as they call him. Look at that. I thought Keevy got out of, a lot of these nicknames, when you really break it down, aren't real.
It's like
real
hockey
creative.
Ned Yost nicknames.
You know what I mean? Like instead of Grant, I call him Gruff. But I thought he was fine. Nothing to really add on him. I don't know. We'll talk about the game more the next segment. I don't know that they get tested much this week either in the passing game. They probably won't. But I would watch those corners. I would watch them.
Last group to talk about is the special teams. I mean,
I can handle this.
Yeah, you can handle this. Talk about Anktel. I mean, obviously he didn't have to do much.
Yeah,
Anktel didn't have to do much, but I mean, talk about the whole thing, and then we'll see if I can follow you up.
Yeah, first off, Anktel, his nickname I gave him is Boomstick Swagger. So I think his holds on all the extra points and the field goal were great.
Swagger.
Yeah, Boomstick Swagger. That's Devin Anktel. He was, he held well. He didn't get a punt. That's a great thing. When it comes to the third-legged man, Mr. Lynch, you don't want to. Yeah, that might be a little R-rated for your guys' podcast. That's what we call him. That's what we call him over on Bosco's Boys.
Like Mini-Me's kickstand? Okay, that's the most R-rated thing I was.
Yeah, good thing Matt's not at the table.
And I can get away with saying
he would be mad. He's not. So here's the thing. He was so automatic on those short field goals last year. The fact that he missed one 40 and in, that's a little concerning. And his coverage kicks were fine. The coverage was fine. I'd like to just honestly on kickoffs go with Zettner.
If you didn't bring it up, I was gonna. What did you think?
Just let him boot it out of the end zone. We're not spending as much time on special teams as we used to, which I'm fine with. I truly am fine with.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to spend that much time, kick it out of the end zone on kickoffs, and then again, I think Blake will be fine. He'll find. What? I'm sorry. I'm so thrown off right now.
Why? What's going on?
Hey, here we go.
The band.
We got the band coming in. We might get a little interrupted here for the next 30
He'll be fine. Lynch will be fine. We'll take a break if we need to.
May I sit here?
Yes.
Thank you. I needed a seat.
You would have played the microphone.
Oh God, really? I'm not allowed, but thank you. I turned 21 Sunday. Thank you very much.
So I'll update you guys. We've got the band here. We have a flutist. I believe that's what you say. At our table.
If you don't listen back to your podcast,
I will this one.
You might want to.
Yeah, this has been a good one. Yeah. I like the slow version. They don't use the slow version enough. I like it.
We'll speed it up here in a second.
Is it rolling?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if you guys will be able to hear this, but the one thing the band should do more is play the interlude to the fight song. You hear it like once every 20 years.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure I've heard it, but I need to hear what it is. They're going to speed up, Flanders. Here they come.
signing up for this.
The one you go front and back on.
Another weird thing if he sticks up the Wildcat hard. That's why when he came.
I would love to, but I don't have any cash. A more important part than I knew. The fluke's a more important part than you knew.
Yes.
Yeah, it's key.
This has to be the most random episode of the KSO Show.
I tell you what, I don't know what's yet to happen in this thing. I mean, if Bill Snyder doesn't show up and sit down on the panel, I'll be disappointed at this point.
He would turn around if he saw it.
I don't know. He might. But I mean, a very important note. Ryan Beckett is still fighting, and he has a fight soon. So if you like mixed martial arts, local guy Ryan Beckett is sitting next to us. Very nice man. Type his name in. He's a very nice guy. He's fighting here soon. Ryan Beckett.
He looks like an MMA fighter.
Yeah, he
too.
does.
It looks like he's ready to beat someone up.
Well, the story I went and talked to him about is when Freedom I've mentioned a couple times on this podcast. It has a friend, at least one friend who listens, who seems like a nice man. We used to tell Ryan to take his shirt off to try to attract people to park in the front yard, and it worked like magic. I mean, so yeah, there's the story. Let's talk about.
We were talking special teams. We were talking about Zentner. Zentner's kicking off a little bit, and he's might have the biggest leg on the team.
Does he have a red shirt still available?
Listen, here's the thing. We've argued about it. I think no, because I remember talking to him last year and remember him telling me they're not going to play me this year at Butler, so I can save the red shirt.
Okay.
So he had one, and then he played anyway. So my I'm like 80% sure. I think he doesn't have one.
All right. That's fine. I was just curious.
So that probably covers this up.
Is that right? But what if he plays less than 4 games?
Well, if he doesn't have one, it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know. But no, that does wrap us up.
Skyler plays less than 4 this year? Well, it doesn't matter. So, yeah.
So yeah, let's. Oh, I see what you're saying. He ended up playing at Butler, and it didn't end up working out. I see. Yes, I was so confused. I even tracked his stats, so I should know.
I know
more than
you knew all about it. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that wraps this segment up. A fun one. We had the band come through. We had Taylor Pratt come on, and is there anyone else I'm missing? Yeah, that's a full show except for Doyle. Doyle's just sitting here silent. Hey, we'll get him on one day. Let's wrap up this segment. That's presented to you by People's State Bank and Legacy Insurance. Segment 2 is coming up next. Back with the KSO Show, presented by People's State Bank and Legacy Insurance. This segment is also brought to you by the place we're at right now, Tallgrass Taphouse. We're enjoying good drinks, good friends, good food. Bourbon and Baker and Harry's are also on the same street. Go to those places too. They sponsor it as well. I mean, great places
I think
to go.
we're going to go to Bourbon and Baker within the next week.
I think so too.
To meet with Coach Lowry, maybe some new guys. It's a pretty good time.
I need to go.
One thing they have is the fancy,
you've never been?
the fancy real sugar
haven't been to
Mexican
Harry's
Coca-Cola
either.
in a bottle. That's
I've
really
never been
good.
to Harry. I live above Harry's. Never
I've
been
been to
there.
Harry's, too.
Actually,
It's very good.
I sat down at the bar one night and had a drink, but that doesn't count. I don't think.
All I know is like your guys' sit downs with Chris Lowry, some of my favorite content
Thank you.
pieces.
he does such a good job. Doesn't he?
He is on like my podcast bucket list to get him on.
Well, you could.
I know.
For sure.
He's a very
I
nice
know.
man.
But I also want to cultivate my friendship with Brad Korn. I want
Yeah.
to become best friends with Brad.
Yeah.
Because you guys have Chris. I want to become best friends with Brad.
I think you should.
And
Do
then
it.
we can have like a combo 4-way pod.
Yes.
We're actually, when I say trying, we haven't done anything to try, but I'm going to try to get Chris Lowry to start doing a segment on Power Cat Game Day.
Oh.
Because he's a nut. Brian Anderson's like one of his best friends.
Yes, and
he is a nut about this.
Someone introduced someone
And,
to
like,
someone's wife.
Right. I think Lowry introduced him to Lowry takes all the credit for introducing Brian Anderson to his wife.
Can Lowry introduce me to my future wife?
Maybe. I mean, why not? You know, I told Brian
Very
Anderson, I saw him on whatever it was, Wednesday, and I said, hey, I talked to Coach Lowry for like 40 minutes the other night. He's really excited about you guys. He's like, well, we better be. I'm excited for them. And I'm like, all right, don't get so defensive. Like, your best bud.
How about Luka Sipke?
Right.
Supke.
Oh, you
Right.
didn't even talk about that.
Well,
Luka
we
Zuki.
haven't. We'll do that. Maybe we talk some of that after this.
It's the very
after
end.
this.
Yeah,
Hey,
we talk about
yeah.
some hoop stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of fun
You
stuff
could
going
talk
on.
about it because you know all about
Yes.
it.
It's fun stuff.
Flando's following the recruiting. But I want to talk about some game picks.
Let's get some games.
Can we do that?
Let's go.
do it.
Let's go,
do it.
Flanders. Come on.
All right, I got him up. First game, 11 o'clock game. Hey, it's a little couple of Power 5 conferences coming to clash together. 11 a.m. West Virginia headed to Missouri. Missouri lost at Wyoming last week.
Picked that.
Wolf City,
West
USA.
Virginia scraped through James Madison, one of the better FCS teams, 20-14, I want to say, something like that, 20-13. Yep. And what do you see happening in this one, Scott?
I got Missouri bounce back. I got them covering the 14. Go to MyBookie, promo code CHAIR.
Yep.
Just whatever. If you happen to be into that offshore stuff, because Kansas won't legalize it. I got them 42-21. Bad day for Neil Brown.
Ooh.
I am exactly on line with Scott. I think Mizzou hammers West Virginia. I think a big bounce back for them. They were way better than Wyoming. Just lost the game. I don't think West Virginia is very good. Similar score, 42-21. Exactly the same. Missouri over West Virginia. MyBookie.com, promo code CHAIR.
MyBookie.ag.
MyBookie.ag.
Promo code CHAIR, 100% match.
MyBookie.ag. Not com.
Well,
Come on.
I mean, I went into
Yeah,
this.
because it's not legal,
Not
technically.
legal. Yeah.
I went into this thinking the same thing as you guys. I think Missouri had a bad game against Wyoming. A couple of turnovers didn't go their way, and 42-21. I have Missouri taking West Virginia at home.
Good pick.
Oh, nothing better than a couple of guys sitting at the table.
Hey, I mean, if all three pick the same score,
It has
you're
to
not
be.
betting on it. I don't know what to tell you.
What's the bookie promo I got to say now to?
MyBookie.ag.
Promo code CHAIR.
Promo code CHAIR.
100% match up to $1,000.
I did go 3-3 against the spread last week on Power Cut Game Day, which is 500. I mean, like, that's pretty good.
Hey, shout out to Cole Manbeck
You know?
for his first version of Cole Sharp Plays went 2-1.
Oh, he did?
On Bosco's Boys Free Play Friday.
Well, there's a lot of ways you can win money out there listening to all these podcasts. It's like giving it away. Who's next?
Next, we got a team that K-State saw last year and just put it on them. UTSA headed to Waco. Baylor had a good showing last week. I forgot who they played. I think it was Stephen F. Austin.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
Austin.
You're right.
They're
F.
not
Austin.
I'm
good.
going to say Abilene Christian, which is like the same thing.
Same
but-
thing, same
yeah.
colors. So let's go. I'm going to switch it up.
Switch it up.
Dale first, and then
Do you have a line on your screen? Do you have a line? If you
let's
don't,
see.
it's okay.
It's like in the 20s.
25 and a half.
25 and a
Baylor's
half.
way,
Baylor's covering that. I think this UTSA Roadrunner team is going to feel like Wile E. Coyote in this one. And Baylor, 42-21, Bears win.
Yeah. Yes.
Don't cover.
Don't
I
cover.
think I said cover first thing, but 42-21 would not cover it, so Baylor does not cover.
Baylor wins, but closer than the experts think. Shout out to David, our UTSA diehard who came to the Boscos Boys tailgate.
Awesome.
Still listens to every one of the Boscos Boys shows.
I love it.
If he listens to this,
I'm
shout out to
UTSA
David.
so
He's
hard.
a great guy. And
UTSA alum, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's great.
For him.
But I have Baylor by 4.
Ooh.
Sweaty for the Bears.
Close game.
Sweaty for the Bears. They still finished 3rd in the Big 12, but it's
We got
sweaty.
2 Roadrunner covers here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Roadrunners cover.
42-21. Baylor takes it over UTSA.
Love it.
Next on the slate, South Dakota heads to Norman. 6 o'clock game. I don't know about this one.
Sooners win 100-4. 2 safeties.
They
but,
could.
Yeah, it's
I don't care what the line is.
Sooners cover. It's
Probably going to cover it.
Probably so.
We'll probably see Tanner Mordecai and Spencer Rattler after Jalen Hurts goes 21 of 22.
Well, thanks for
And
teaching me up on the backup OU QBs.
Spencer Rattler's going to be. You would love Spencer Rattler. Number 1 quarterback in the country last year. Like I don't even want to get
Is he
into
the one on QB1 on Netflix?
I don't know. Probably.
Is he just a giant QB?
Well,
that
is, he,
just,
is he a true freshman?
Yeah.
Is he just a?
Yeah.
You
is
can't
he-
both
is he
ask
like-
me the same questions at the
Is
same
he
time.
just a super?
No.
Is he a super speedies QB that can also
He's a
sling
dual
the
threat
rock?
guy,
Oh,
yes.
that's
He wears number
exciting.
7.
That's
I'll show you
exciting.
some pictures later. We'll talk about it later.
Oh.
OU by 100 to 4.
OU
I already like him. Mike Tolbert, alum. Coastal Carolina headed to
The Chanticleers.
Yeah.
headed to Lawrence to take on Kansas. Coastal Carolina lost last week. Start us off with your Mike Tolbert.
Mike Tolbert did have his best years with the San Diego Chargers at the time before going
San Diego Superchargers.
before going to Carolina where they just wasted him.
I know they did waste him. I'm assuming it was that where he grew up too, because he went to Coastal Carolina.
I don't
I don't know.
Nah, he's from Georgia.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I think we're that deep on Mike Tolbert in this segment.
I
wasn't
love
ready
Mike
for
Tolbert,
it.
but anyway.
They're really bad. Kansas will win by 10.
Yeah, KU wins. Yeah.
We don't want to talk about it. Just
I'll
go
take
on.
Coastal Carolina. Okay.
There you
KU
go.
wins and they cover. I think the point spread's at 5.
7, but yeah, I
7.
mean,
Can you
close
imagine being a
enough.
7-point favorite over Coastal Carolina?
Jeez, that's why. Yeah, give
Holy
me
cow.
Imagine.
Holy free holies. Move us on.
Daniel Sams used to play for this team.
He ain't walking through Oklahoma State big.
McNeese State and Oklahoma State.
Okie State by 1 million. Spencer Sanders looked
They look
really
better
good.
than I thought they would
look
versus
sort of
Oregon
hover.
State.
I mean, if Spencer Sanders is that good already as a freshman, the Pokes could be like back. And when I say
Ooh.
back, I mean not like national champs, but like 9-10 win type back.
But
I hope not.
I hope not too.
I want to
but-
upset them in a
well,
couple weeks.
I mean, same.
I'm not
but,
holding
you
my
know.
breath. But
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
Not
Pokes.
yet.
that might have been the reason why last
Hey, you can't
year-
say Pokes, McNeese State, or the Cowboys as well.
Oh, how about that? It's one of those. Oh, how about the Cowboys win? Like, it's so funny when we say that. Oklahoma State, 55. McNeese State, 19.
I don't mean to disrespect Taylor Cornelius, but I might just here. I think last year was the reason why you saw him
Run all over
You saw-
Texas? Yes, I did.
Well, you saw not even Taylor. You saw Gundy just pissed off at the Big 12 press conferences, and then this year you saw him all happy and stuff because he knew Taylor Cornelius wasn't going to be under center. So
That's mean.
I hope he doesn't listen to this.
Not to pick on Taylor Cornelius, but Mike Gundy's happier because he's gone. That's what you just said.
Absolutely.
I mean, like,
I must be a bad influence on Flando.
Wow.
He's just throwing guys under the
Man.
bus.
I don't mean to disrespect him, but I'm being disrespectful. Here's well, actually, let's go to this game first before we go to probably the game of the week in the Big 12. UTEP headed to Texas Tech. UTEP got a win. Dana Dimmel got a win last week.
Yeah,
and
but-
Texas Tech got a
but
win.
didn't they
last week.
beat who'd they beat?
Let's go
UTEP.
look.
It was like
It was
30.
a nobody.
It was like
Like
39,
Georgia
30.
Southern or
No,
something?
not even near that good. Like 39-37 over. I want to say a
Oh
high
my
school.
gosh.
Who was it again? Read them
It
off for
was
us.
Houston Baptist.
Houston Baptist.
School
UTEP
of the
gets a
blind.
win.
No,
And they're playing the Red Raiders. My sneaky team in the Big 12 this year, Alan Bowman, might throw for 700. He has before.
Did they cover
And,
the 34-point line?
Yeah, UTEP's terrible. Texas
Easy.
Tech, 35-0.
Ready for the biggest upset ever.
It would be the biggest upset
No,
ever.
I'm kidding. Tech by 50.
Yeah.
Tech by 50. I love it. Yeah, maybe Texas Tech gets the win. Game of the week now in the Big 12. Number 6.
I don't know who I'm picking.
LSU headed to Austin.
I'll go first.
Oh, this is a big game. The line is set at 6.5 LSU's way. Start us off, Scotty.
Yeah, so I wish I could pull like what my co-host Grant_KSU would do and
Pick 'em both.
make multiple picks.
Yeah.
But on Bosco's boys, I reluctantly picked LSU. So in the immortal words of Ed Orgeron, go Tigers. But not really go Tigers. I just think they're going to win.
Right.
But it's going to be close. It's going to be Tigers by 3.
So I would be similar. I would take Texas to cover the 6.5 or whatever it is, but I probably would stop just short of picking them. Like, I know LSU's got a bit of a different offensive system this year, a little more high octane. I wonder if it will be, full gear in week 2 on the road, which would be hot down there in Austin. I really want to pick Texas. I just don't know that they're going to make enough big plays. I saw a stat that like 80% of Ellinger's passes last week were in 4 yards of the line of scrimmage. That's not going to work against LSU's defense. That stuff will get blown up. So I think, just like Scott, I think LSU wins a very close game, a low-scoring game. I can't quite pull the trigger on the horns.
And what you just said right there with the non-explosive plays out of Ellinger is a reason why I'm not big on him. Might be the reason why.
Have like one healthy running back.
Yeah. But you know what? Early in the season, against LSU at home, give me the horns to get this win, and good for the Big 12, right?
Would be great for the Big
It would.
12.
It would.
Now it's time to pick. The actual game of the week
I was
in
going
the
to say,
Big
this
12.
is the game of the week.
For real. Bowling Green headed to Manhattan first.
Shouldn't Bowling Green's color be green,
I
by
get
the
mad
way?
about it every time I see
Just,
it.
I wanted to interject that into the show. Sorry.
Why would
It
they
is
not
kinda
do
ugly
that?
colors too. Otherwise,
It is.
It's like orange and
It's
brown.
like they
You can
Yeah.
do it. You can do it well, but they don't.
It's like they just chose to be difficult. It's like it's obviously should have been it should have been green.
Speaking of
Great.
which, there's a Bowling Green.
Oh, there's a
fan.
Bowling Green fan. We had some Nichols guys last week in here. They were nice.
And there's an ugly brown shirt he's wearing.
Hey,
No,
he could probably
That is
hear
gross.
you, man. It is.
That
It
is
is
gross.
It is an ugly shirt. It's not his.
That is really bad.
Like, it's not his fault. That's
just
what his
the
team.
colors
That's what
of
his
the
team
school,
wears.
yeah.
But they should be green and yellow or green and white or something. There's no doubt. But yeah, onto the game.
Green and teal. Keep going.
With this
Green
part
on
of the
green.
with this part of the pod, Scott, this is you probably
Yep.
listened to the old one. This is when we pick keys to the game.
Yep.
And I don't know if you want to start it off. If you want to hear his first.
No, I'm gonna do.
Start us
I'm
off,
gonna do
Scott.
I had 2 keys to be on the
Let's each
Bosco's
do
boys.
a couple,
pretty
yeah.
good.
Yeah, a
real
couple
quick. My 2 were be disruptive on the defensive line, play on on their side, and I was the basic pumpkin spice latte fan and said try not to drop the ball when it hits you in the hands. Again, everything you've said is correct. It's way overblown by stupid fans like
Still
me.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter.
No,
yeah.
but those were my 2 keys to be on Bosco's boys. Like I said, I'm trying to stay true to what I've already said. Those are my 2 keys to be. And then do I give a score or do I wait?
We'll wait on that.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good.
Spoiler, Cats by 90.
We'll let Dale pick his keys to the game right here.
You look at how I'm going to show off my research I did yesterday for a little bit. I did watch their game. I have read up on their stuff. Darius Wade at quarterback is not a dual threat guy at all. I think last year we started 4 games for Boston College late in 17. He combined for something like, I'll get the numbers wrong, but like 20 carries for minus 35 yards. He's just a thrower. He had a couple of games in there where he was like 7 of 15 and 7 of 16 for about 70 yards. He's not a big play guy. He had really good numbers last week against Morgan State. And I'm not trying to just be a jerk, but if you can look bad while beating a team, 100-0, they looked bad early in that game. Darius Wade was missing open receivers by a mile. I don't think he's very good. So my point is he's a guy. It sounds so cliche, but you have to make beat you. You don't sit back in quarters against him and let him have easy throws, because that's all he can really do. You need to pressure him in the pocket, like he said, be disruptive against him. He's not going to hurt you outside the pocket like Chase Forcade was, and they were concerned of. And then be aggressive on the receivers. This is not a big play offense. They're going to play similar style to K-State, so you got to attack the line of scrimmage, like he said. Really, the problem is when he said it, disrupt the line of scrimmage, like, well, that's mine. And so I'm going to have to talk for I'm going to have to talk for like 8 minutes about, a different way to say it, because he's right about that. And then I think on offense, you just want to see the offensive line play really, really well again. If they do, this Bowling Green team still should be worse than Nichols. I know what they did last week, but I still think they're worse than Nichols. If they are fine on the lines, I don't see any way this game goes bad.
It's a couple of good keys to the game.
Yeah.
This is when we pick our player to watch.
Oh,
Scott.
yes. Love it. So my player to watch
And
is...
you can't say the Seawolf.
Yep, that's fine. So my player to watch is going to be Walter Neal Jr.
I was going to
Yeah,
pick him.
Okay, sorry.
I'll come up with someone else.
All right.
Keep with it.
So I'm going
Stick
with
it.
Walter Neal Jr. Again, this is a
good
team we
pick.
should dominate. I want to feel more confident about him going to that Mississippi State game. I want to walk away from that game. I'm going to be sitting in the East Club shout-outs, the East Club tomorrow. I want to be walking to my car. I want to be thinking to myself, wow, Walter Neal Jr. looked great today. That's the thought I want as I'm walking to my car.
I wish I wasn't
tomorrow.
ripping him on the KSO show yesterday.
No.
I know you're not. I'm just being
No. First off, that's fine.
Jerk.
And it is what it is. I want to walk away and be like, you know what? This guy has what it takes. I feel comfortable about him shutting down Isaiah Zuber next week. Ooh. I want to walk away thinking that. So he's going to be the guy I'm really keying in on tomorrow from the East Club. Shout out.
Put it on the board.
Yes. I will stay defense and go Daquan Patton. Thought he was very good last week.
See if he can keep it up, huh?
See if he can keep it up. And this is a team, too, that's going to play a bunch of tight ends, a bunch of fullbacks. They're going to run the ball a lot at K-State.
Will we see 3 backer sets at all tomorrow?
I don't think so. That's an interesting question. I still don't think so.
Just curious.
Yeah, I mean, if you were going to play a 4-3 against anybody,
I'm really good at asking questions.
This would be it, you know. I mean, but I think they look at Jaron McPherson as a guy who could play a small outside backer anyway. So Daquan Patton, he's going to have a lot of chances. This could be, if he plays enough snaps and they don't make him go 3 and out every time, this could be an 8-10 tackle game for him. Maybe a couple TFLs. Daquan Patton, number 5 in your program, number 1 in your heart.
Couple of defensive guys for you, so I'll go to the offensive side.
Yep.
And I want to go with a guy that I want to see if Malik Knowles can put on a good show against another poor team they're going against. Last week, obviously not a great showing. He showed some nice stuff, but a few drops. I want to see if this game, Skylar Thompson can key on him a few times and he can maybe put up 80 yards through the air
on one
by
play.
himself.
Perfect.
Yeah, on one play for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Now, this is when we make our predictions.
Right. I love that Flanders looks at his he's done a great job. I'm not trying to be critical, but it's like it's so step by step. Now, predictions. Let's go, guys.
Well, he's had to put up a lot. I've thrown wrenches into your guys' show. We had the band.
We've had this has been
a lot of fun.
The wrenchiest show we've ever experienced.
I love it.
Yes.
Oh, and while you were gone, well, don't even worry about that.
I don't really
Don't
care.
worry about what was
It couldn't
said.
have gone that bad,
So,
I don't think.
No, there's no swear
But
words.
I will give a prediction. I don't remember the exact score I gave on Bosco's Boys, so forgive me, my loyal listeners. But I'm going to go with 41-6. I'm going to say that K-State scores 5 touchdowns, and we see 2 field goals by Lynch, get his confidence back.
Yep.
And we're going to see 1 garbage time touchdown by Bowling Green, but a blocked kick.
And the kick is blocked.
Yep. A blocked extra point by oh man, who's the Polynesian defensive tackle?
Matthew Palomar.
Yes, he is going to get a blocked extra point late in the 4th quarter. And the Cats win 41-6.
I think he's going to snare it with one hand.
Yes.
He's going to catch a block.
And he's actually going to get he's going to get tackled at the 5-yard line.
But he's going to catch it with one hand.
So that's my official KSO prediction.
My score is very similar, 42-13. A game that feels like last week, maybe not as sharp. Maybe it's not 28-0 in a heartbeat, and you don't think, oh my goodness, this team's going 15-0. But still a complete effort. I think you'll feel really good about the team going into next week. Against Mississippi State. It's going to be exciting. You hope they come out healthy. I think, hope they should. And no problems. I mean, similar score to Scott, 42-13. Wildcats.
Man, let me
Not
go.
Not quite the 90.
No. It's going to be tough to do that, actually. When you really think about it. Get the 90.
Could you imagine what would happen if the Cats did win by 90?
You'd sell a lot of shirts. That's what would happen. I'll tell you what. Have you got a score yet over there? We've been killing time for you about 22 minutes over here.
52-10, the Cats take it big.
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Can you get Doyle a score over here?
Yeah, no, we need to get Doyle. Get that mic. Get you on here, Doyle. Score. We'll
Has that mic been live the whole time? What if the people next to us are saying things?
I only turned it up when the band came in. That was the only time.
Yeah, I got the Cats 52-7.
Ooh, hell.
The biggest challenge is going to be seeing if Skylar can tie 2 games in a row where he's highly efficient. I think this is going to be the game. He's going to show us.
Why haven't you been talking the entire time?
Because that's all he had to say.
That's all I had to say.
I sat here for well over an hour.
For an hour and a half.
I know.
This is all I got.
And I know this pod has gone super long, but I can't help myself because Matt does this every time he comes on our show.
Every time.
I just want to say, as a consumer of K-StateOnline, the work you guys do on the premium and free content is second to none. I've told Matt this. I was at a point in my K-State fandom where it was, weaning a little bit. All the issues with the Snyder era. I was a big fat dum-dum and wasn't bought into Bruce. And when you guys took over,
everybody, man.
You guys took over the rival site, the coverage you guys were able to bring, the new fresh look at K-State athletics you were able to do, and how nice, personable, and just awesome human beings everyone is. You two, Derek, shout out to Nats Hall, my bachelor buddy.
I become your bachelor buddy now.
Yes,
in paradise.
Yes.
I'm not gonna watch the other
Okay,
stuff.
never mind. Well, we'll talk. But I just because you always say such good things when you guys come on to our show, I just want to say that what you guys have been able to do for K-State fans and covering K-State, something that hasn't been seen maybe ever, and you truly do enhance the fandom for a fan base that is so rabid and wants so much for K-State University or Kansas State University, the K-State athletics. So I just want to thank you guys for what you do. The $99 I spend every year, it's the best $99.
Sounds like a lot when you say it like that.
Well, but still, it's the best money I spend. And if anyone is still listening, and if any of you guys aren't a subscriber, I will personally reimburse you if you subscribe for a new subscriber for a year and you're not pleased with the coverage. I will personally give you the $99 at the end of 12 months, because what you guys
can't put
do,
an asterisk on the radio or on the podcast.
I'm just saying what you guys do, the coverage you are, and the great humans you are, it's second to none, and my life is legitimately better because I've become friends with you guys.
Scotty.
It's a ringing endorsement.
So that's the KSO show.
Yeah, that's it.
We love it.
If anyone's still listening.
Yeah.
Oh my. I mean, I wanted to talk about basketball, but should we?
No. Quick about basketball. Luke.
I know that's
Lucas would be great. Oh, I cuss on you.
We can put
Oh, did he? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, but it's funny. I looked at him and Flanders nodded at me like he got it when he didn't.
I didn't get it.
Sorry.
I
But
thought
hey,
you were talking
that's a
about-
great pickup. We got visits.
Right.
We got visits going on. Who cares about the guy who didn't come?
Right.
Bruce.
Luke Kazupke, he committed on Monday or Tuesday. I don't even remember which day it was now.
He committed Monday. We reported it Tuesday.
Okay.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
His Instagram video went out on Tuesday.
Correct. And just a great kid. I've enjoyed talking to now both him and Nigel, two very good kids. He's going to be, a wing on that can really play the offense.
You mean Luke?
Luke, as in Luke. Yeah. We've talked about Nigel enough. He's a
Can
pure
you
point
imagine
guard.
those two with Dejuan?
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be fun. I mean, that's the thing is Luke can play the two as well, and he's going to be a guy that's going to be able to be versatile. I mean, the question is his defense, but I still think under this,
He'll get there.
Yeah, under Weber and this squad, I think he's going to learn how to really defend well. But I mean, as far as visitors go this weekend, you do have Sept Miguel, a forward out of a small forward out of Orlando, Florida, and then Jethro Muscadin. He's out of Kentucky. He actually used to play for Sunrise Christian down in Wichita, but two really good guys. I've enjoyed talking with them as well.
1-0 in my life against Sunrise Christian, for the record, just so you guys know. Career
Oh, yeah,
high.
I remember you
Scored my
told-
career high against Sunrise Christian as well.
That's
18,
impressive.
18 for me. They were not good back then. They were like brand new. They were not good.
You didn't have to add
They
that
didn't
part
have.
in.
They didn't have Jethro Muscadin guarding me down there. I'll tell you that much.
So yeah, a couple of guys that K-State's really excited about, and we'll see what happens this weekend. I'm sure they're gonna have a fun time. Stick with the site and see my update on them to see how well their visit goes. And I don't know what else. You talk a little bit about them too. I mean, you cover this stuff too.
I think no, man. I think it's your beat, and you did a great job talking about it. I think like you said, big picture. They technically just have one scholarship left, but in basketball, like you've written so many times, Flando, that can change so fast. If both Sept Miguel and
Jethro
Muscadin just said, hey, you know what? I'd love to be a Wildcat. They would figure it out. But it's going well. Like you mentioned, Nigel Pack up in the Rivals 150 now. He's a 4-star player. Kasupi's still in the 150. So, not that Rivals 150 guarantees success, but you'd like to be 2 for 2 in that. I think it's going really, really well. I don't have anything else to add. There's a lot of stuff on the TV right now, and I'm looking around trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm just flustered. Basketball recruiting, though. Flanders will talk about it Sunday and Monday on the site. Read what he says about the visitors. He'll tell you everything about it.
It's gonna be exciting stuff. Scott, you got anything else to add before we close this thing out? I mean,
I just legitimately love you guys. Love your guys' coverage.
I love you, Scotty.
I'm gonna try not to cuss again.
I love you. I love Grant as well. I mean, it's sad he couldn't be here.
Meh.
Meh. to myself. Can you finish this out here though? You know what to say.
Yeah,
you can say you can say both yours and our tagline.
Yeah. So if Grant _ KSU were here, he would say, "Meet me at the Cat Head." I would say, "Hey, we love all you guys out there unconditionally." And something that I've been trying to tell everyone I can: tell your friends about KSO. Get in there.